artists, there's a time when you will find artists performing at the top peak, and there's a time when they go flat for a while. I think, but there's a level of consistency with Mr. Keeler and Jamo, the Wizard. Wizard had never gone low. He had always maintained that level, just that sometimes he does not get the recognition for it, you know?
Yeah.
But he's always always getting to that level, you know, of playing the role, you know. But I think what have happened over the years is that people kind of generally spring or grab to the newer vibes that comes on stream, and, and they go with that, you know. And for that reason, many people have lost interest in some artists, because like you see, Squeezy have his fans and followers, and he's there, right? Smokey came and Smokey just gone. You know what I mean? If you want to get really gonna be a Smokey fan, you have to go back and look at Smokey old songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no newness for Smokey. When you're looking at persons like other guy named the guy from Guav there, Carlos. Carlos is always a good Calypsonian, but then you write a hit song and that was it. It's done. You have other folks who write a lot of music, but then they fade in the distance, you know?
Yeah.
So people like Marshall Manton, the Inspector, the really sustain the time. Like I was telling somebody that Sparrow music will never die. You know, no matter what you say about Sparrow music, it's not gonna die anytime soon. You know what I mean? So forget about Sparrow music dying. I mean, when you look around today and you see persons like King Shot music, that music that never go old either, right? In most recent time, his song get played a lot when in Grenada and when the writers on the wall. You know, even GEMFM played a lot too when the election time was here. So you'll find that most of the time, people in political arenas look for songs that are relevant to the topic or to the audience. You know, look at what happened over the last election, right? These guys didn't write songs pertaining just to Calypso, but they have write political songs, right? And it's a political divide between artists as well, you know, who over the years has emerged as political supporters of different parties, and that too have helped them to increase the level of writing, the stage performances, and they get to be liked by the party followers, right? You know, because like for example, the song "We Have the Best Picture," we like it. That song is not going old anytime soon. My boy from Sotes.
Yeah.
So that song is a song that will be around for a very long time. You know what I mean? And then you have Black Wizard, Deacon is the Man. You have Laco. So when you look at those guys, and I know this other guy, he sing this song, and I was listening to some people in Japan the last time, playing Black Blood movie. You know what I mean? And you know, so it tells you how much our music have gone international, and the followers, not only local but regional and international audiences, have gravitated to greater music, especially jab music. You know, even for people from Africa would take it and say, this is our thing. I heard an African guy say, we know we do not sense we're small in Africa. You know what I mean? This is not new to us. But again, think about it. We are African descent, right? So guess what? We're taking all this stuff that from our ancestors and bringing in to the African diaspora. where all these people are doing the thing that they do. Yeah. So I saw you, oh my goodness, I just erased something. I saw you commented on my African lady. He surprised you, right?
Huh?
He surprised you, right?
Which one?
Anaria, what's your name?
Or the
Oh, okay. Yes. The ambassador to the UN,
yeah, okay.
on her interview, I shared with you on the when there was questioning her about Africa and make reference to Zimbabwe, you know, and what's going on in Zimbabwe, and asking them to do the homework, asking the journalists to do the homework before they come on national TV and just going what they hear, you know, instead of investigating the truth and to know what's going on. So, well, your response to that, you were shocked, you know, with what she said. What about it that you were shocked about?
Yeah,
Most?
well, listen, I like her and I think she has a role to play, and she makes some important contribution, and I like that.
Right.
But she's not impartial in Zimbabwe. And she's not impartial about Mugabe. That's how she got her big start or big push in politics.
Right.
So I suspect she feels indebted to him.
Do you
But
think that was part of coming to be who she is right now?
Well, not so much, because I think what was disappointing in that comment for me is that she's always been a sort of stand-up figure since she became publicly well known, you know, pushing back against Western neocolonialism and all these great things.
Right.
But on Zimbabwe, she was wishy-washy.
You think so? I thought she was.
Of course she was.
Really? I didn't.
Listen,
I thought she was very open.
The thing is that, right, we have to be able to, and I am too, because I was never ever a Mugabe man. I was always an Nkomo guy.
Joshua.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, my bias is built in. But I think I could be objective in that, saying that Mugabe, if you're killing your people, that can never be good.
No, and
Mugabe was wise enough, learned enough, understood colonialism and its dangers probably better than anybody else of his era.
Yes.
But he still succumbed to these petty criminal acts. And for me, you know, the whole issue of the land, that was just part of the problem with him. The reality is that, right, you generally cannot leapfrog from one system into another one overnight. There must be a transition. Right. Okay? You have to break down mountains and build up, go through valleys and then build them back up again.
Yeah, but
and that was his mistake. That was his mistake, you know.
Right.
So that led to, you know, all kind of problems for the Zimbabwean people. Here's a country that once was deemed the breadbasket of Southern Africa, and then it couldn't produce anything, you know. So ultimately, yes, the West strategically put a stranglehold around the country's neck, but there were ways to work around that.
Right.
When you're in leadership, maximum decisions are never the best. The solutions are always found somewhere in the middle, and then you move to whatever position you want to. But to move from one system to a completely new system overnight, you will set yourself up for failing.
and you say this, right? And I hear you. But you understand also that there are elements that work within the system to destroy the system that is in operation, try to bring a transformation. And elements that they will be supported by the West to create interactions. And you have to crush those things. And do you not believe that also?
Oh yeah, but that was not Zimbabwe problem. Mugabe never really had any opposition. He crushed all his opposition very early.
Right, and anyone sort of raise the head in that direction, he would seek to do the same. He would not allow it to flourish. And I think that's where the West really pushed the anti Mugabe thing, and a lot of us buy into it that he shouldn't be doing this. But they did the same thing to establish themselves. So they tell us, okay, for example, why?
But if your people are starving, inflation is running at 100,000%, all your nurses and doctors are leaving, you have to do something about it. You can't just sit down and blame somebody.
No, you're not blaming anybody. What I'm saying though is that you have to establish a fund where you have to take, it will cost you political capital, believe me. But at the end of the day, you have to decide for your people what is best for them. And sometimes the West do not allow you to give that breathing space to do that, right?
Listen, I'm no way will I excuse the West for the atrocities and the stranglehold that they have put on Africa. But we are critical of the West, but we don't see no problem with what Russia and China is doing, and that's not.
Well, that's another story all by itself. I mean, that's another big story all by itself. I hope one day we could do a Saturday night with more hold on a second there, with a more wider cast. Yeah?
Yeah.
With Margaret, Toro, Hudson, where we could seriously look at the whole and a bigger picture, everybody giving their 2 pence on that, because there's a lot of people who think that China is ripping off Africa. Some people think that Russia is just their military to support to fight against the West, and they supply the arms and ammunition, just as America is supporting the other end. I was looking at the show, The Economic Hitman, the last time, and what they plans and try to do to Africa and so on. And I saw a lecture at I can't remember which university, but he was talking to a group of university graduates, and it's Caucasian graduates he was talking to, and why they have to keep Africa poor, why they have to make them feel the way they feel, when they want to do the things they're doing to them. I'm thinking so you plan all these things, and teaching the younger generation that we come into the corporate world what to do, because these are the young men who come and take over the corporations. And to maintain, you have to teach them what you have done and maintain and keep it going through the whole system, right through life. So it's a cycle. So it never really changed,
But our problem, and I'm saying our problem because I'm an African, is that we have always allowed people within our, or not allowed, but there's always been people within our midst who are going to sell us out, who are willing to sell us out. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if we are united, in our approach to genuine development for our people, then, and we don't all have to be on the same page, okay, in terms of the way forward or the best ideas or what the best solutions may be, but we are united in our humanity and in the fact that we all believe that we should do everything within our powers to enhance the lives of our people. If that is our abiding principle, then we will not do anything to undercut. I would not do anything to undercut my brother, even if I disagree with him.
Right. You see, and that's one of the things that, because like we know and we see that what is happening, that those persons are used, right? Those Black people are used by the powers that be to dismantle the same system that's trying to help the people.
Yeah.
Until we come to the realization individually and say, look, I can't sell for money, I'd rather die for the cause of my people. I wouldn't sell out my people because of you. I would not sell out my people because I want to get my pocket filled. But let's go, let everybody get a piece of pie. Let's keep Africa to Africa. Let us export to them. Let's control the natural resources and let us export. And that in itself will make a difference. But once we have persons just, it's like I was just talking to we at Ola's Kitchen, and when you come up to Canada, you have to come to Ola's Kitchen. The show here is broadcasting. We left out of Ola's Kitchen this morning, and I can't wait for you to come to Toronto, come and see and eat oil down at Ola's Kitchen. I know you don't put oil down. So when you come
no, I'm not an oil down guy, but I will eat it. I do eat oil down every now and again, you know.
Well, when you come here, it's a finger licking oil down business we have here, okay? We have a talk about all our saltfish is the best saltfish in town. So you come here, get all our fried saltfish, all our deep fried saltfish. You ever eat deep fried saltfish?
No.
Oh my God! You need to come to Ola. That's the only place I do it. I mean, apart from the salty pigtail, the barbecue pigtail stuff, the deep fried saltfish is good. You have to try it.
I don't eat. I mean, I don't eat a lot of meat, but pigtail is something that I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I would always cook some. I actually did it about 2 weeks ago in I didn't have callaloo, but I used just whatever greens I had, and spinach and all the other whatever I could, collard greens and whatever else I could put together. And I think I added a small piece of pumpkin to it. And I was really, really surprised. And I don't know how much, well, I think we all recognize that now. When you're eating better and you're eating healthier food, you feel differently.
Yes. I totally agree.
You know, I mean, I'm a guy who have always tried to eat healthy. I haven't always done it, but I would say in the last 10 years or so, I've really turned the dial up in terms of what I eat. I mean, I had a terrible addiction to sugar. I mean,
really?
Yeah, and it was a lifelong thing. I remember I as a kid, I'm helping my mom in the kitchen, and if I'm in the kitchen, especially night, because we didn't eat heavy at night. We ate something light, generally maybe a cup of tea with a few slices of bread and maybe a piece of fried fish or whatever it was. But it was never heavy. My mom did not like heavy food in the night. She never did. And so if I'm in the kitchen and I'm making tea, we didn't do cocoa tea in the night either. So generally in the night, it would be Ovaltines or Horlicks or some one of those refined crap, you know.
Yeah.
But my father especially liked if you were making Ovaltine or all stuff, he didn't care too much for that. He would always opt for some bush tea, you know.
Really?
So whether it was soursop or sugar apple leaf or honeysuckle or I mean, we had everything around the house. So you could pick whichever one. He didn't care. And he would always joke that, please, can I have mine before you turn it into sling? You know, because he said you're using too much sugar, you know. And I mean, I would think until about, 10 years ago, I could not have anything without sugar. Now I would buy a pound of brown sugar and it would last me half a year.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness. I'm not definitely much of a sugar guy, but I love my things to be sweet, and we do this because at the end of the day, I love cake. I love my black cake. I love to make my black cake.
Me too.
I love to bake, and my thing most comes. I love sugary stuff, and when I bake my cake, I paste a little bit. Like my grandmother used to always do this thing, right? She will make her cake, and then she will have some sweet water,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yes.
crazy.
Yes, I remember.
So
I know that. I know that.
I grew up on that. So when I bake and I finish my cake, my buns, whatever.
Generally, it's a little brush made out of black sage bush or something.
Yeah. She used to use the banana leaf.
Yes.
And chip the end and paste over the
Yes.
That was my thing. And over the years I've come to realize that,
But now we could substitute so much of the sugar that we put there.
Yes.
If we using the natural fruits like raisins and currants and so
yes,
we could use significantly less sugar in those same pastries and so forth. So
yes.
I do that too. I just significantly try to reduce how much sugar I use. So I mostly would use honey right now, but I could not drink a cup of tea without
Right.
3-4 spoons of sugar in it.
Wow.
Just wouldn't make now. And there's just a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we have to learn and try to do better and take better care of ourselves. And so many things that we thought was healthy for us or good for us that that it's just not. And the thing is that our parents and grandparents and probably great grandparents, they had this thing right, man.
To the science.
They had this thing right. How they knew these things, I don't know. But the idea that the value of vegetables, okay, in your diet,
yes,
and focusing, trying to have more of a plant-based diet than meat-based. It's now all the research is telling us that is the correct thing to do. A friend of mine shared something with me a couple of days ago where it said that if you the more beans you eat, or I think if you move almost through, and you could extend your life by up to 4 to 5 years. And not only the extension, but you enjoy a better quality of life during that entire period, And I always ate beans and things, but I became really big on it in the last decade or so. I like lentil beans, but my system does not process it.
Okay.
But I like it, and I remember it was a huge part of my diet of our meals when with my ex-wife. She cooked it. She had it like a million ways that she cooked it and really good. But I always have difficulty processing it. I don't know why. It just, but I still do eat it. I try to figure out different ways to have it. So if you make it what typically we used to call as a side dish, it's a little heavy for me. So I prefer make it in a vegetable soup or something like that. Then I can process it a little better,
Okay. Because for me, I don't cook much now because of how I do radio and stuff like that. But my wife does cook now more than ever. But she cooked because she also on a healthy trip too.
Yeah.
So she reduced it. I eat the food and I pick up on a taste. I say, oh, she didn't put more salt in this one. She didn't put more cover. She seasons more than put sugar than put salt. Like real seasoning, seasoning into the food. We give it a really, really, really nice taste. Yes. For me, I love it because that way I get to taste food with salt in it, And
we have to remain open and we have to learn. And there's a lot of I wouldn't even say new things. They're being revealed to us. So for example, there's a lot of people, everybody on Facebook giving health advice, and this is good for you, and this is good for you, and this is good for you. And I was in a debate with well, maybe not a debate, but I was in a, conversation with one of these people who are promoting, and she's putting in some drink that she makes that she said it's really great for, I think it was for tummy ache and reducing cellulite and fat around the stomach and whatever.
Okay.
And part of her concoction was black pepper. And black
Really?
pepper is really a terrible thing.
Oh my God.
It
You
is a
know,
terrible, terrible thing. So I felt obligated to comment and say, well, what's up with the black pepper? It's kind of no good for us, and there's enough um, research that shows that black pepper, especially for men, is not good for the prostate, And so I'm saying, why would I use that? But then I joke because I don't know how many people, I think a lot of people know that. If you have a leak in your radiator, and you know how hot a radiator can get, right?
Right.
If you have a leak in your radiator and you want to fix it temporary, I'm talking a good fix for a couple months until you can find the money to replace the radiator. Pour half a pound of black pepper down your radiator. Okay? It seals off all the leaks.
They have a similar thing called it's black too, but it's on little pellets that they put in your car.
But yeah, the regular black pepper that we use, that seals off all the leaks in your radiator. That radiator could go to 200 degrees, and it cannot get rid of this black pepper thing. Why would I take that and put it in my stomach? Right? So yeah, because if 200 degrees of hot, boiling, steaming water cannot dissolve black pepper to in that radiator, I'm not using it. So the real pepper that we should be using is cayenne pepper.
Well, I was just about to say that because a lot of people put that in the diet, right?
You have to get used to it because they're different version of it, and some of them are real, have a real pungency to it. So you have to get used to it. But after a little while, you will begin to tolerate it more and more and more and more. But cayenne pepper is the real, it's a superfood because it helps regulate the blood flow in the entire body. And it would even, if you have small ruptures of vessels and you have enough cayenne pepper, it will help those vessels seal up faster and prevent. So this is cayenne pepper is it's a game changer. So,
well, I'm hoping this before the year end or the next year, we will have a health specialist, most as a nurse practitioner who deal with those health and those naturopath. So I have these two people I'm talking to. I'm hoping that they will come and be able to put a show together Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. We could have that happen because I think all people need to be educated on those things. Yeah. One of the things about us is that we don't take the time off to study the foods that we have around us.
Yeah. Right?
And we Kentucky, McDonald's, and then we have local foods. Like I always talk about coming to others' kitchen and get well good food in Toronto, where we have people that is the owner of the restaurant is from Grenada too. So she's from St. Patrick's as well. I think it's Montreat, Hermitage. Are you from Ola? Hermitage? She's from Hermitage. They're from Still Lady again too, Actually, this last Grenada day.
So Hudson people.
Oh yeah, Hudson always here at the restaurant.
All right.
Hudson,
all right.
I think share Hudson's family too.
Okay, that's good.
I think Tillman she's related to Tillman as well. Tillman, your first cousin? First cousin. Yeah. So there is a lot of history in this space here when you come here. You got to come up here and feel the Grenadian vibes of a different, not from the New York vibes, from the Canadian vibes. And most 477 Oakwood Avenue. So folks out there, you're listening to GEMFM. We are live on location at Olan's Kitchen, 477 Oakwood Avenue. You can come on down here and get yourself some food, get yourself some drink, and have fun with us today. We'll be here until about 4 o'clock. At which time we're going down. There's a big event coming up today, Delbert. And if you remember Roy Cape, Roy Cape, he is one of Trinidad Caribbean best music arranger, composer. He'll be honored today, downtown Toronto. Gina Augustine 86th birthday party taking place. I'll be there. GEMFM will be there to cover that as well. So we are preparing for a long weekend, a long month of Caribbean Tale Film Festival, running alongside the Toronto International Film Festival. Both of them taking place at the same time. So we cover Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The shows all week, but GEMFM is doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we're doing Saturday today because it's Jean's birthday.
By the way, John, our good friend and my cousin Louis just messaged me and said we don't have any audio.
Oh no?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happened here. Why is that? Okay.
Because I'm hearing you clearly, so I don't know why, you know.
No song. Okay. No song. What happened here? No song. I was getting song last night. Jesus. Okay. It's on YouTube. Whenever YouTube is from YouTube, sometimes you will get some on YouTube. Oh, yeah, for him. Let's try something in him. From YouTube, so YouTube could be fine. I tell myself I used to get maybe something. On YouTube, not on Facebook. What's going on?
I don't have the link, so I can't check it, but she just messaged me and said that we had no audio.
Okay. I could believe that, but I don't somehow we're not getting it on the it's not the another movie, right? Let me send her the YouTube. I'll send you YouTube link and let she go to YouTube.
Huh?
I think they see me too, but YouTube is fine. Let me do this. Let me send you YouTube link. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you can forward that. Listen, share this link. All right, let me make this thing available on Facebook as well. I don't want we're not getting them on Facebook.
I don't know. I mean, I'm hearing it, but you know, you do have these technical issues from time to time.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing it clearly, so I don't know.
I know. I think it's something to do with Facebook. Okay.
Did you see that there was a post this week on Facebook,
Right.
where somebody came up with a solution for that roadway in Molinette. And his idea was that we should cut from there, build out to the sea. I don't know, maybe 500 yards, and then build back in. And I'm going to send you the picture.
I see that. I saw it with the bridge, a kind of square, the U-shaped thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who?
That was a bad construction to begin with, right?
Huh?
That was a bad idea right there.
The idea was so ludicrous. I don't know how the person had the gumption to actually think that they can put this on Facebook and think, and that I didn't see the post themselves. Somebody just took a picture of it, knowing my interest in that kind of in that field, and sent it to me. So I didn't really read through the post. But I mean, this is such a silly idea. It's this. I happen to believe that this thing, I'm not saying it is an easy fix, but I don't think it's as complicated as they're making it out to be.
Exactly.
And my solution is that you have slippage, so you have to go, you have to support the soil from way down below. You can't just build a bridge right at the end of the road and think that's going to solve your problem.
Not gonna
so
work.
You probably have to start down at the line with the water, and do some stuff there, and then build about 2 or 3, the way I see it, interlocking supporting walls coming up, with all of them tilting about 30 degrees into the soil before you build the final one that is going to actually be the one that supported the road. And then you dump the others, you know, and in the process you plant some really nice trees. There are trees that you can plant, full-grown trees, as soon as you build the wall, because the more vegetation that you have there, that will also aid in the stability of the soil. So I don't think it's this. First thing, this is not no engineering marvel, right? This is not no engineering marvel, you know. The old guys like my father and Noel and all these guys, and them would have fixed this thing a long time. Yeah.
I mean, even that road, that very road that they're speaking of, when you look at it, the possibility that to have start the bridge from a further distance down to for an end straight across, with some serious pillars deep in the ground from there. I look at some of the bridges that is built in China around the rivers and lakes and stuff like that, right? And you see the height and the depth. I saw some in Australia and Indonesia as well that have been built, right? And I'm thinking that those things to be built in granite. The problem is that I don't know how porous our soil is that could withstand the pressure of vehicle traffic that much in terms of.
Well, listen, a lot of our roads were not built to accommodate those heavy loads. So we have to limit that, whether we limit it to 25, 30 tons. Most experts feel that's a good place to be in.
Right.
And maybe we have to have roads that's sort of semi-designated for the heavier travel and not allow certain vehicles to travel on certain roadways. We have to look at all of that.
Right.
And the other thing that we can do is to move heavy loads, since since so much of the raw material is in St. George's, right? We now import sand, so that all comes from St. George's through the ports. The red gravel comes from, Queen's Park, Dabo, that whole area there, going up into Mongay and other places. So it's all St. George's. We have that. There's a gravel pit somewhere in I forget which part of St. Andrews it is, but it's not a refined gravel that could be used in concrete. It could be used for dumping and doing the pre-concrete work. So we might have to look at whether it is more feasible to move these heavy loads on water rather than on the roads. So government may have to invest in one or two small barges that could move stuff from St. George's up the West Coast or around St. David's into St. Andrews. Because the last time I was in St. Andrews and somebody came with a container and they were trying to turn that corner right by the car park there. And it was a disaster. The container was stuck there on the truck for 2 hours, So you can't have this kind of things in there. Can't have this.
Some of the things that people say that we should be doing as ask to help us to build on those infrastructure we have. I think we have enough. We have our engineers, you have thing, but again,
I don't trust most of the engineers in Grenada. Because you see, listen, these guys are brilliant, right? Make no mistake about it. They all did very well in college, and I'm not, I'm very pro-academic. I'm very pro-intellectualism. So I don't want anybody to read it that way. But a lot of times, you can graduate top of your law school. That doesn't mean you're going to be a great lawyer. Okay? You actually learn the law practicing with other good lawyers. So the same way you become a great engineer working on great engineering projects. So and that's the problem in Grenada. Most of our engineers, as soon as they completed their studies, they immediately returned and didn't garner any kind of real world experience. And then we have that problem because something like that road, it should be an easy fix with the amount of engineers, civil engineers that we have in Grenada. But this is something that I don't understand. We have one of the best countries for road construction in the world, really. It's Venezuela. So why haven't we been able to reach out to them, get an engineering team, ask the Venezuelan ministry, relevant ministry through the foreign ministry to help us out there, or the Dutch who are just legendary when it comes to that kind of construction where it has to do with land movements and sea water and sea coast. I mean, there's probably nobody better in the world. Or ask the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for help in that, These are things that are available to us while we sit there struggling for 3 years. And if it's going to cost a piece of money, put a 10-year toll on the road. There's nothing wrong with that. Put a 10-year toll on the road so it pays for itself.
Yeah, but you see, that's the problem, though. We don't want people come in about the good things that they need, right? Yeah.
You don't have to make the toll curb. I mean, high. $2.50, $5 for buses. I don't know. I mean, let's do the numbers, But we cannot expect to have more services at a higher quality with greater outcomes and think that we don't have to pay for it.
Yes. You see, and
everything has a cost.
What we want, but we don't want to pay for what we want. You know? It's like, recently we had a situation where people asking for stuff, right? But they don't want to pay for what they're asking for. They want it for, how to get more.
Let's tax alcohol more.
That's the thing. We have to come to a point where we get what we really want and go after what we want and pay for what we want. You can't just live in hope that it will just be given to you just like that.
Yeah.
It's not like that. You have to pay away to get anything that you want.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of improved services is going to result in improved costs. The question is, how do you spread it out and over wider periods, longer periods, or that do you target it in such a way? Do you roll it out in such a way that the people who are least fortunate among us are not targeted for it? But for instance, the whole question of the amount of traffic coming into St. George's on a daily basis, that's a problem. That's something that we're going to have to deal with,
I was saying that the other day because if you look at the coronage, for example, all right, you have a situation where you almost have to get from the fire station to Hubbard's. Yes?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I have a solution. I think it's not mine alone. Other people said it too. That take the boats and them on the carnage and put them somewhere in Garden, on that side over there. All the schooners and them are coming. Villa Jetty over on that side over there. So then you have that traffic, but then you have the road to go to again the road to for that traffic will be going on there too. So you also have build a road, build back this year, build over this year, something like that to accommodate that, because at the end of the day, there's one main road there, and if that road is congested with schooners coming in, except if you build a road down into the beach area down there and have that going on. Or is that you have a situation where you still have to accommodate traffic, right? So you reduce on one end, but congested the other side still. You know what I mean? So
I wouldn't go further down. I would bring it up, but I'm completely in favor of moving them out of there. This is a beautiful part of St. George's, the Carnage, the walk. That's a beautiful part of St. George's that should be more, I see it as more kind of, nice chic businesses and cafes and that kind of thing than having all these, some of them are in really poor condition, schooners around that thing. So I would move everything up to that Melville Street area and dredge that area and make it more common, so if you take from that whole area coming up from the mall all the way up to the stadium, that's a big enough area to do something there to accommodate. It would include having to widen the roads and probably some additional parking and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
That would be my area for, instead of extending further down south, to come up a little bit north and bring some more activity in that area. That would be my suggestion. Yeah.
Because a lot of times we tend to, in hindsight, look at the thing from outside, right? And I think there are a lot of people, probably the people who are actually involved in the industry, fishing, the schooner operators and stuff like that. Probably if we listen to those people and them, we might even get a better idea, from them of what they really want to address my situation. Because sometimes people go to the say, well, you know what, I think that's what they need, but not necessarily what they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That whole area, when you come back from the Ministry of Finance, all the way around to the port offices, fire station, needs to be cleared out. That air, that water has be that water has become heavily polluted because the ships and boats and so that use that area, they just legally dump everything in that water there, right? So that area needs to be cleaned up. And let me tell you something. It's the one abiding thing you could say I love Gary for his Easter Water Parade, okay?
Oh, yeah. Gary got your vote on that, right?
So Uncle gets a A+ for me for Easter Water Parade. I loved it. And it's something that I would really like to see come back. Whether we do it there, whether we don't, we don't have to be around Easter. That's the other thing, right? We have to create other festivals so that Carnival is not the only time we're drawing people to our shows. So should we have a big celebration in May? Okay. May is an important month in Grenada. Should we have a big celebration in March? March is
a very, I'm looking forward for the March 13th celebration. I tell you, I can't wait to see which government will be bold and brave enough to do this. This one will take a lot of guts to do. It's not an easy one.
I don't think so because
so why are they not doing it then? Why are they not doing it?
Vision, lack of vision.
Lack of vision and fear of people.
I don't think it's fear anymore. Certainly I didn't hear much of it on my last visit, but previously, before the government changed, I can't tell you how many people I encountered on the street who told me. Some of them I did not even know. Okay, some of them were friends of friends that I went to visit, who are my old NYO buddies and all them people and them. And these young guys at the time say, man, I envy you guys that lived through the revolution. Why can't we have another one,
Right.
So you don't need another revolution. You can just take the programs and the policies of the revolution
and implement it. A matter of fact,
when you think about it, everybody, well, not everybody, the propaganda at the time had us believing that the revolution was about military. No, the revolution was about healthcare. It was about agriculture. It was about education. It was about building and developing a tourism project. It was about building major infrastructure. Okay, that's what it was about. It was not about they want us to believe that we had a militaristic society. We did not.
No,
we did not.
The military was just supporting and back and to defend the gains of what was being done. And I think what have happened over the years is that I think there comes the realization factor to all of this, right? Where people come to realize, look, we've been duped into believing that that's the only thing that is happening in Grenada, was militarizing of the Caribbean to Grenada, right? That Grenada is exporting revolution and kind of nonsense. But the true fact of the matter is, they tried after the invasion to erase all the memories of the good in the revolution.
They almost succeeded.
They almost succeeded. They sold the Batarante for peanuts, for give it away, whatever.
That was not a legal sale, man.
No, it wasn't a legal sale. A plane that was paid off.
According to old people, some kind of ratchet fee make there.
Yeah, and the plane wasn't owed for. You didn't owe for the plane anymore. The plane was paid for, right? So talking about making $25 million a year, right, from the plane. And that was I think it was the first year or so they paid up for the plane or something like that, right? And the good negotiation with not even Bonnet alone, but Lionel Ramdani, who make the deal, struck a deal with the yacht. You understand? So all of these things was they get $100,000 loan guarantee at the to buy the plane, right? And I think it was from Mexico or something like that. But
it was from Brazil. It was from Brazil.
Brazil, yeah. And then you have this government coming and get rid of the plane because I go industry, they slow that. You know what I mean? The only thing they couldn't pick up and go, they couldn't take up the and sell it. You know what I mean? They get rid of the CPE and they try to do something else. they run the transportation system to the ground. The people begging for right now again to come back.
Yes.
They have
You,
run
by the way, you cannot seriously develop if you don't have a public transportation system.
You have to have that.
It doesn't have to be completely public, but maybe you could come up with a hybrid system.
Yes.
But you must have reliable transportation if you are going to develop your economy.
Exactly.
And that little ovens, and I call them ovens, that we have in Grenada, calling it buses, that I want to see the government that's going to be bold enough and say, that's it. The cutoff date is today. You can no longer bring this in as buses. If you want to bring them in as taxis, fine. You want to bring them in for your own private usage, fine.
Right.
You want to bring them in for charters, fine. But they will not be ever registered as
buses.
As buses ever in Grenada again. Here it is. We're going to have a 5-year, 7-year, whatever period to wind them down. And from now on, you're only allowed to bring in buses 26, 28, 30 seaters and above.
But I don't know. Tell me what you think. Because I didn't think that the PTS as well as even run by the government had an independent body running it, right? And these folks came right after literally went to the ground, without maintaining stuff, no checking, just dismantling, right? Gradually got rid of it. Do you think now that we would need to have a same system set up again for our transportation system?
So I don't remember how many buses were there?
We had about 26 buses. 20 or 40 buses, something like that.
It was that many? Wow.
Yeah, 26 buses.
So we need, I don't know how much we need, because you can't just put the people out of business who are running buses now, because most of them owe the banks and so forth. So there has to be a period, whether it's a 5-year or 7-year period where these buses are going to phase out. And every year, so let's say you start with about 10 buses right now, okay? And you focus them on routes that are not being adequately serviced by the current construct. And that every year you say you will add 3 more, 5 more, whatever the number is. Let's work it out. Let's put a body together that comes up. And we have people, by the way, who are very good at that. And both of us know somebody who is probably the best in the Caribbean for this, right?
Right.
So,
but again, hold on. Because at that point you have canoes.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
And I think the government should recruit him to oversee. And then you had Byron Campbell killing Grainer, who was the overseer of the transportation system at the time. So you have people that are available to ensure the system works.
I mean, Ken is an expert in that area. Expert. So there's probably few people region-wise that understand transportation as good as the brother, So we have the
and that's
so we could phase out, bring in something and then phase out, but we can't this 15 seaters and then they're trying to squeeze 20 people into it. Yeah, no, I can't handle that.
It's a hustle. And that's one thing that I think that needs to be done. We need to transform that transportation system to make it effective.
And then the other thing is that should we say that every vehicle that's going to come into Grenada to be used commercially should be diesel, high frequency, high quality, low sulfur diesel, so that reduces our import, and then maybe phase that out with saying that every year we're going to increase electric vehicles by 5%. The problem with that is that right now we're struggling to produce enough electricity to meet consumption. So that's going to be an important. That's a challenge that the government has to face this year. They have to solve that problem within the next year. The Grenelec problem, which is one of the disasters that the NNP administration left the country in. So we have to, that's something that has to be.
Right. So let me ask another question, because we're talking about that. The transportation system in Grenada as it is, and some of the problem we have with transportation, and we talk about phasing them out. How do you compensate if you have a compensation package for the people who have those buses and then who become abandoned? They never really probably like they won't need them anymore. You phase them out. What would you do with these people? You get them to work with the system you can't employ everybody. So what will you do with those people? You
can't employ anybody, but most of the buses in Grenada, some of the quite a large percentage are owner operators. So these people are natural entrepreneurs. So, you know, I'm not saying leave them out in the cold, but these people would find other stuff to do. You're not totally eliminating transportation. So a large part of the drivers now would become drivers on the national system.
Right.
Some of the conductors now might become conductors on a public system. So it's not like jobs are not going to be created. You know, they're going to be jobs created for them, and we'll be able to eliminate some of there are people in Grenada who are terrified. I mean, literally terrified of riding these buses on a daily basis. Outside of the discomfort of being inside one of them, the callous disregard that these drivers have for human life is frightening. You know, there's always a saying in Grenada that we have the best this and we have the best this. Maybe we do maybe we do have the best drivers in truth, because I have seen these vehicles and there isn't any rational person who just stepped into Grenada out of the blue and noticed the way these guys drive would not think that every week we have a major accident with one of them with major loss of life. But so far, we've been able to escape that, and thank God for that. But that's another problem that we have to solve. You see episodes of it every time, especially when folks like myself who attempt to use it and realize that a guy is on the phone, he's drinking water or something else, racing, talking to the driver, trying to talk to the girl behind him, and I'm sitting there. No, I'm not riding.
I happen to drive to Grenada from St. George, and a young guy who lived when I lived Grenada, he was not even 12 years old to drive a vehicle. I went to Grenada, he was hustling to go to Grenville. And I saw Wendell, an old PRA driver, driving the big vehicle, the guys. I said, "Now we're going to wait until he's ready to go." I'm not taking my chance over. I see how the young guys drive. I said, no, I'm waiting for the older guy to drive me over the guy done. Brother B or Robbie or those guys, and Rob. I'm not driving the young guy. Even my brother, my young brother driving with a guy. I don't take any chance with those guys. I remember driving my brother, driving to St. George, my one police officer, and in River Road. These people speeding, like it's tomorrow. And the two mirrors class, and just keep on driving like nothing happens. Oh, that's happening all the time. Like really? You know what I mean? To me, I think like, no, sir. No. People have to be more responsible in driving.
But they can solve that problem. They race everywhere. So get the policemen out on the street.
Right.
in specific areas
Mhm.
and ticket them.
Yeah, that well, we have to be always have to be more efficient, and I think they have to provide with tools for that, because at the end of the day, if you don't have the tools, you can't do the job effectively, right? So you got to have the proper licensing system and everything
Listen,
ready to go.
10 to
Oh, look
15.
who is here! Look who is here! Oh yes, GEMFM is here. Wow, Miss Diana. I'm just getting pumped for later. Come on, say hi to Delbert. And talk about what's happening this weekend. Go ahead. How you doing, my dear? Nice. This Miss Diana.
Okay, stop.
And there's something missing today.
Oh, my hat. It's in the car because
It's in
it's
the
for
car.
tonight.
Oh, it's for tonight.
Yeah, I will.
What about tonight?
One for tonight. Yep.
Got blue.
Yeah.
We're with me tonight.
Yeah.
Tell what happened tonight. Tell what happened tonight. We're live on the radio.
Oh
So
my
come on.
God, we're live. Okay,
Yes.
celebrating and honoring Dr. Augustine's birthday, 86 today. So we have
Wow.
a special event for her happening at Harborfront Center. This is in the Fleck Theater, 203 Queens Quay West. So you have to come out. We're also honoring Dr. Roy Cave. So it's a big celebration. Everyone is going to be dressed to the nines. You have to be there. GEMFM.
Yes, yeah, we'll be there. Yes, will be there. We'll be there.
Yes, awesome.
Oh.
Nice to see you.
Oh, nice. I thought you were at Others Kitchen. Yes, so this is the coordinator like for the festival. Yes, she's featuring in GEMFM magazine this edition too. Yes, so wow, that was a pleasant surprise. Wow. So yes, and it's here. So yeah, but man, that leads me to the next question. I was looking at lands for sale. There are lots of lands in here for sale. Recently there was some personnel here from the bank, Century 21, Greater Development Bank, not Greater Development Bank, whatever bank, but two real estate and insurance companies was here, and a lot of people, the size of the show, a lot of land is being bought in Greater, a house is built in Greater by returning nationals. The 80% of the land bought and built in that is by returning nationals. And encouraging more of us to come back and build, buy and build and so on. I've noticed that in Sotters, Liberia, for area going down to Coconut back over there, right? That what do you call a point overlooking Chantimel area, looking over the point, looking over.
Well, you have a number of different communities there.
Yeah.
Mount Rodney, Darby,
yeah.
Mount Alexander, you know,
Right.
just
And there's lots of land out there for sale. Lots of land for sale. I'm thinking like, wow, you know, Lansopy and Wester Hall, there's lots of lands for sale. And it's not very much, they're not that expensive. If people have a house here and want to take out the energy to buy up selling green easily, right? Even a house, some houses for sale. What do you think should be done with? Do you think that they should have reserved plots for agricultural purposes and for housing because it's not people building, still building anywhere in here. How do we control this spread of just put up a house everywhere in Grenada? It's supposed to have that control zone if they need there's a need for that in Grenada.
well, I mean, there are areas that are designated as agricultural lands. But it's kind of difficult if you're going to if people, which they do have the right to own lands and buy lands, and then you tell them that they can't build on it. That would be a kind of tough act.
Yeah.
But there are clearly homes built in Grenada in places that no homes should ever be built. Okay.
Can I identify one of those areas?
I can think of a few homes in Batway that should not have been built in the areas that they were built.
Right.
I can think of some throughout St. Patrick's actually, and probably not so much that they should not have been built. But one of the things that we do again is that the government allows people to build too close to the road.
Yes.
So 40, 50, 60, 70 years from now, there'll be, if it became necessary for us to expand, we don't have any way to expand. All right. So we have to look at that, but that would come with developing a proper land use possible plan that includes what lands are completely designated for agriculture. So you may have a house on it, but it can only be something of a barn or something that's used to further your agriculture.
Right.
You know, of course, those that are there would be grandfathered in.
Okay.
But it's a tough issue. It's a tough issue. And
because-
again, we have people who have expertise in that, in sustainable development. I
right.
think of our good friend Denise. Denise is something that she has thought about for a long, long time and has a steep vocation in that area, you know.
Right. So I also look at Subi's marquee area and the other houses on the shoreline. And we have a real issue with the sargassum, seaweed and stuff like that, and boats can't even get to go out, and sometimes the fishermen have to walk out or swim out beyond that to get the boat. I see Indonesia, I see other places, I see there are other places trying to use it to they're making bricks out of it in some country. I can't remember the country right now. They use it, they recycle using bricks, and I mean like real bricks, like hard and you know.
Yeah, they're using it for
Whoa. All right, that's man. Yeah. So a lot of they're using all this stuff on them. How do you think government in this present dispensation should invest in getting the equipment to take care of this thing? Because
we should
commodity that will be used, recycled right. Go ahead.
Well, we should test it I'm particularly interested in it being used in cinder blocks and other stuff like that. So we should test that. But it's something that has a lot of chemicals in it. So you have to test it to see how it will react with cement and the other additives that you use in concrete. And well, listen, it's already been used. The technology has been developed. The question is whether or not we can transfer it to Grenada, because I think it would have to go through a process of cleansing before you can use it in that. But just imagine, okay, that because of the amount that comes ashore in different parts of the island now, that let's say we were able to, because of that, import 10 or 15 or even 20% less sand from Guyana, or we were able to have to dig 10 or 20% less gravel from the gravel pits in Dabo and those areas. Think about over a long period of time, the degree of sustainability we would have built in. And so we have to find usage for it.
Right.
I don't think we have to spend the money doing the research, because there are lots of countries who with the money that this thing is affecting now, and they're looking for proper usage of it. So it's a matter of whether we are open to receive that transfer of technology and see how we can use it. But yeah, we have to find usage for it. And I could see it being used as part of the mixture for concrete, because that is showing some good results.
Yeah, I've been watching a number of people, governments around the world that is like I said, have the problem, and they addressing it by using the necessary machineries and incorporating them to build roads, to build bricks, to build prefabricated houses and stuff like that. Right? And I'm thinking in a situation where Grenada is, for example, they could use those systems to use that, invest, like you said, there's a lot of technology over there, so outside here, and there are persons that are able to do those things. So how do we do that? How do we get those financing from those multinational corporations?
A lot of times the financing are there, whether they're in grants, and the grants do take a little time. But they're private people now willing to invest in countries like Grenada. We have to have the right people that knows how to access those things. So we should not. The only things that things like we imported social media wholesale, right?
Right.
So we have to do things that improve our lives and the lives of our people. So this problem is going to keep getting worse until we start doing something about it.
Right.
I'm interested in to see what happens. I have always been a big proponent of a ministry of future affairs, a ministry that.
No, hold on there. You will get somebody cross with that. Where the constitution is that? You have a constitutional reason for that, eh?
Where is it? Where is it in the constitution for a ministry of housing or a ministry of religious affairs?
Yeah.
It's not, right? I think what's the only ministry that's in the constitution? The finance ministry? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember which one of them right now.
So the finance ministry could run Grenada by itself.
Can't. Every ministry needs to have a sub. You see, that's why I had like central planning, right? I think it has worked effectively.
Well, that's what a Ministry of Future Affairs should be doing. Looking at all the cutting edge technology, all the emerging technology, those that may be working already, some that may not even be working or maybe in its embryonic stage and is showing great possibility. And you can see how you can extrapolate down to suit Grenada because we're a small economy. So you have a ministry, it don't have to be a big ministry. As a matter of fact, you could start it off with a department in the Prime Minister's office, a dozen or combined experts, 30, 40 people, who every single day, their task is to look at what's happening in the outside world and how we can use that to better the lives of our people. And that's their focus. Their focus is not how you build bridge, how you educate children, how do you take care of the elderly, none of that. They look at programs, they look at developments, they look at innovations and see, can this work in Grenada? How can it work? Can we afford it? Can we not afford it? Because a lot of times we say things are expensive and we don't realize that yes, it may be expensive, but if we don't do it, the outcome would be quadruple the price. If we don't educate our children, there's a terrible cost on the back end. If we don't eat healthy, we're going to pay for it in palliative care later on in life. So these are the things that we have to look at. So right now, and that's not a critic of the government or anything. We have too many ministries and too many of them that does not make any sense. Most of them, I would fold all what we have into about 10 or 11 ministries. A lot of these things should just be a department. That 26, 28 statutory bodies, I would combine them down. Some of them don't need to exist in the form that they do. Make government small, make government smaller at the top, and provide more services and benefits to people at the bottom. That's my model.
So do you think that given that structure about here, do you think that with actual putting a ministry of central planning would take care of those problems?
Well, we have a ministry of planning right now. The question is whether they follow in their mandate. We have that.
Right. But again, so like I said, how effective is it? I would like to see it happen. I would like to see those things go back in. Our banks, our agro industry come back and stream. I think all those things should be incorporated in that ministry, to look at the future and see how best we can better facilitate those there are small industries, cotton industry in Grenada right now, right? Lots of it. How would you merge back all of these things to get into a central place if put them into bigger cooperatives and make it more effective?
Well, I don't know if we need to get them back in a central place. What we do need to have is a national vision in terms of where we're taking the country, what it's going to take, what are the vehicles that we're going to use to get from point A to point B, and then lay out that in a broad-based plan and create some pathways and give people some tools, and then let the people do it. Because you mentioned cooperatives. Cooperatives, I think, has to be a huge part of our economic development. So whether we have construction cooperatives, whether we have cooperatives in car repair, in refrigeration, in plumbing, in all these areas, because these are areas where the skill the skill divide is very noticeable in Grenada. Very, very noticeable. You see a lot of houses painted nice, pretty orange, pink, green, blue, whatever color. And you go inside and the walls are like the I like the linen pizza of what's the linen pizza wherever it is. They call it Italy. It's like the linen pizza of Italy, or the crumbling walls of the old Colosseum. All right. They're not straight. I was in a house in Grenada. I used the bathroom, and somebody came and used the closet, not right there, and left the closet door open. And when I was trying to come out of the bathroom, I could not come out the door. These are things that should never, ever happen, you know? Or somebody just putting up a wall house and they put up 50 columns with no understanding of structure. So by the time they finish and they you end up with a column in the middle of the kitchen, or a column in the middle of her bedroom, or a column in the middle of her bedroom. I mean, you know, it's just crazy. So the rules that you don't have, I think under 2,500 square feet, you don't need a plan in Grenada. Yeah, I think if you're building a house under 25 or 2,000 square feet, you don't need a plan.
I'm a kitchen guy. I'm a kitchen designing guy. And I tell you, I was shocked. Yes, I visited several homes in Grenada. It was really, like I said, nice on the outside and all kind of stuff. And the structure, the construction of the kitchens was really not 21st century. Okay?
Oh, absolutely
it's not. And
yes.
People think if you just put up some boards somewhere and make a kitchen, it doesn't work. And so I think the houses are nice in some cases, but you have the proper kitchens put inside the house, a kitchen and washroom. Okay? And if you have enough space and build a decent kitchen, I have built kitchens here, I've finished kitchen and put in small places and big places as well. And if I have some pictures, next time I show some kitchen that I did, right? And I was just talking to one of my co-workers recently about the amazing prices, to which you could afford them. It's like $300,000 for those kitchens that we do, right? And for the homes are $5 million, $2 million homes, right? And the kitchen, if you want to buy the same kitchen, it could cost you less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because of who buying it, it costs them that amount of money. And understandably so. I mean, why you want to put a $10,000 kitchen in a $6 million home, right? Yeah. So even though the kitchen could be $30,000 or $40,000, you can sell for $40,000, you can sell for $300,000. Because that person,
of course, you got to sell up to the competition. Yes,
exactly. So that was kind of a shock for me, because I price kitchen and think like, okay, it's like $40,000 for this and $50,000 for this, $100, and then the cycle is $300,000. Like, you know, and some kitchens will go to about $500,000 for a kitchen. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not kidding you. A kitchen will go for $500,000.
But in most houses, the kitchen is a central gathering place, right?
Central. Yes.
People spend a lot of time in their kitchen, both not just in terms of cooking, but socializing. So you want it to be appealing. You want it to be appealing.
It is, and a lot of times we try to break prices when we have little deals for ourselves, right? But sometimes the amount of effort and work that goes into something, sometimes it's, I mean, recently I had a situation with my car, and, you know, on this on a regular street, we can like probably pay $1,000 to get that done, right? But then I brought to the dealership and cost me $5,700. You know what I mean? And the work, it take 3 days to do the thing. And the price that they charge you is not the person working at hourly wage. It's a different wage bracket they charge you at for the same job. So at the end of the day, I think in Grenada, what have to happen, we have to have real people who know about kitchen and have a real sit down with the homeowner and let them know what you're going to do. Because for me, I despise a bad kitchen. Seriously, I have no appetite for bad kitchens when I see them. You know, I see houses for selling green and I'm thinking like, oh my God, I don't bring this whole kitchen down. From the countertop to the thing, everything got to go. Totally, everything got to go. You know, and do something. Totally have to go. So yeah, so we here at Ola's Kitchen, guys. That's in the broadband, which is low. Your network is the thing is mine here. All right, we're here at Ola's Kitchen, 477 Oakwood Avenue. We're broadcasting here today, and we're going down to 203 Queens Quarry. That's today with Gina Augustine birthday is on the 86th birthday, and Right Cape will be honored today as well downtown. But
Hello?
let me see. Yes, we're back. My internet dropped here a little bit. So yeah, using Wi-Fi here. We're outside today, so Wi-Fi is working. So yeah, so Right Cape honor is being honored today, and today is the Gina Augustine birthday. She is also the first. Let me pull up some stuff on her here. I had it all lined up here today, you know. Gina Augustine. She has made a mark in the Canadian landscape, you know. Honorable Gina Augustine was appointed as the first Fairness Commissioner for Ontario in March 2007. Let me put it up on the, let me share screen so you'll see it as well. Gina Augustine. Let me put up here and share the screen because she's Gina Augustine, yeah. So Gina Augustine, today is her birthday. So okay, are you seeing that?
Yeah.
So for those who can't see and those who listen on the radio, Honorable Gina Augustine was appointed as the first Fairness Commissioner for Ontario in March 2007. She cares passionately about education and the challenge faced by newcomers to the province. Mrs. Augustine attended the University of Toronto, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts and Master of Education degrees. She became an elementary school principal with the Metropolitan Separate School Board in Toronto from 1988 until 1993. She was chair of the Metro Toronto Housing Authority. Mrs. Augustine was the first African Canadian woman to be elected to the House of Commons. She was elected in the riding of Etobicoke Lakeshore in 1993 and sat in Parliament until 2006. During this time, she served as Minister of State for Multiculturalism and the Status of Women, sat on several standing committees, and was a deputy speaker. She also played a major role as parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, which was John Chrétien, back in the days. So today, she'll be celebrating her birthday, 86 years. She's from Grenada. I'll make that known. She's from, I think, from the Happy Hill side. So she's also, yeah. So
this lady should, well, I don't know if she's wants to do that at this stage in her life, but we should have her on a national tour in Grenada speaking to our young people about civic responsibility.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
I mean, when you think about her accomplishments, it's amazing. And you have to look at it in the context of how somebody who was an immigrant, okay, to Canada, to North America, in a time when it was exceedingly difficult to get a foot in the door, okay? And through her brilliance, her excellence, her tenacity, maybe it's that fighting Grenadian spirit, you know, she broke down doors, she broke glass ceilings. I mean, so these are the kind of people that we should have, you know, how we do it. There's a million ways to accomplish that, whether it's done as a public-private partnership with government and businesses. Because one of the problem in Grenada, right, is that our large businesses do not see themselves as having a responsibility for the development and the advancement of the society. They want the benefits of it. They want more people working so that people can come and shop there. Okay, but they will not make a serious investment in education to ensure that these young people become higher earners later on in life. And they don't understand that there's a real correlation between investing small amounts now on the front and reaping tremendous benefits on the back. So we need greater partnerships with the private sector, with the government, to have people like that return to the island. And we have a lot of them, right? Hudson is one of them. Hudson, I mean, if I had the money, I would put him on a cultural tour of Grenada. My old history teacher, Wendell DeRiggs. They're just endless of them who can do so much. Our friend, Dr. Nurse, okay? They just I don't want to leave anybody's name up, so I'm not going to call anybody, but we have a lot of people like that who can go back and do these tours, visit our schools, visit government ministries, you know, churches, wherever you have an audience, and let them communicate to our people, especially our young people, in a way that they have not heard before, because a significant number of our young people in Grenada now will be living in North America in years to come. And, and giving them an understanding of what life can be like and how they better prepare themselves for life in a metropolitan society or in the outside world will help them be a lot more successful in a much shorter period of time. So I salute her, and sorry I can't be there for the celebration, but my regards. Hats off to Miss Augustine.
Yeah. So she'll be honored tonight, and her birthday is today. Is celebrated today. There's several films that will be through the course of from the 6th to the 22nd for the Caribbean Tail Film Festival. Caribbean Tail Festival is like the international film festival, except it's Caribbean based, again African based. They hosted in Barbados for the first time, and Francis Ann was saying that Barbados became a central point. It takes 5 hours from every part of the world to get to Barbados. You know what I mean? So it's like 5 hours from Jamaica, 5 hours from Africa, 5 hours from America, 5 hours from Canada to Barbados. Everything is like Barbados become that central point. I think Hudson George.
That's why Hudson says not in the Caribbean, right?
Not in the Caribbean. What is Barbados, right?
Yes.
So when I heard she said that one of the first thing that came to mind. What is Barbados? Let me just, I know we have this thing going on tonight. I just want to just run this short clip for us here. If I could get it. Seems to have like an audio this one, but I think what have to happen here is that the whole idea, the notion of us as a people, let me get off this. We have to be able to be able to accommodate and to pay attention to our heroes and our people who have made significant contribution. And even those like, we talk about Hudson, we talk about Anthony, the Riggs, his brother, Chris Riggs, and many of our cultural icons. I don't think we give much credit to them as we give to foreign cultural icons. I think that's one of the things that our people who have represented us around the world well, in the different metropolitan areas of the world, need to be given that space, that recognition for the contribution. They may not make because we're in greater per se, but
we can just start by renaming all our schools.
Great.
Like
yes.
there are no religious schools in Grenada. There are no religious schools in Grenada. If you want to be a religious school, then fund it with absolutely no government input.
Right.
Fine, that's okay. But like, listen, my mom was a devout. I can't say. I always say, joke, Mom. You're right next. You're right next to the Pope, right? So she was a devout Catholic, right? But she always insisted that the school in Chantemelle is a government school. It is not a Catholic school.
Hold on, let me ask you a question, because when there is schools that get subsidies from government to operate, all right?
There's no subsidies. They get all their funding from government.
No. That's what I'm saying. The church who started the schools end up handing over to government, right? Government have hired teachers, but in some cases in Catholic school, if you're not Catholic, you're not really getting a job.
But for example, but here's this. The old RC school in Sautez was built by the Canadian government.
Okay.
The first one. And the one now was built by aid that Grenada received after Ivan.
Right.
So why is it still called
Roman Catholic School?
Roman Catholic School. When that land, by the way, that land was stolen by the Catholic Church on the back of my ancestors.
But funny.
So I'm not recognizing them.
Funny we're talking about that now, because Hudson Joyce had made an observation many months ago, a year ago, on a show that the way Leopold is not the real Leopold. Is where Anglican Church is the real Leopold. I think that part of history have to be rewritten and have to be set straight. Let the record set straight.
Well, that's going to be a tough order.
Because that's what we call real misinformation.
Sure.
And so then you have this kind of thing happening where people are duped into believing that's the spot,
because most people don't know, but the incline behind the Anglican Church is just as steep, as steep and precipitous as over on the other side.
And that's where there's a cave in the back there too, in the bottom of that area where they still live. So it is really this place, but people hardly go to that as a tourist attraction. Everybody go to Leopold and not going behind the Anglican Church.
And it's a completely wrong spot. Yeah.
That cave in the bottom there that a lot of people doesn't know about.
But because that was forced upon us by the Catholic Church.
French Catholic Church, yeah. Because the recognition, they want the attention to be there. Because after the Anglican Church and the Catholic Church had followed, right? And then when the French took over, you had the divide between the French and the English.
So I had my own personal run-in with the church. Obviously, I grew up Catholic.
Right.
Was christened and conformed, whatever the hell that means, in that church there. And later on, when I was administrator in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I was the one responsible for building the the community basket.
Yeah, man.
I was the one responsible for building the community basketball court throughout the country. And the basketball court that was built right there, that people use to park when they go to funeral right now. When we selected the the St. Patrick's PTO, I think,
Mm.
or the PCB, whichever one selected that site as the place to build the basketball court because it was central, and I approved it. And then we told the school, the church, whatever, that we're going to be building a basketball court there. And the then principal,
Who was one?
no, I don't think I think he had already left principal. He was in the Ministry of Education, but he was chairman of the church board. Halal John said no. Yeah, he said no. He said, no way, that's church property. Okay. And this is a man that me and him had a run-in since I was in primary school.
So like deja vu all over again.
So I always in my mind figured out that I had to get back at him. Okay. Because you know, at one time he was the head principal in St. Patrick's. And I had done something in church on Sunday. One of the elders reported me. Okay. And he came up to Chantamel to beat me.
Wow.
So I left. I left the school and I went home. Now I know I was going to get trashed at home because what I did was wrong, and my mother was not going to let that go. But I prefer taking the beating from mom than taking it from him because it didn't happen in school. All right. So he was pretty mad about that. He was pretty mad about that. And that man kept that feud going until I left Grenada with me. So when we designated to build a court there and I went to speak to him, he said, no. And I just looked him straight in the eye and I said, listen to me. The court is going to be built there. It's you either going to enjoy you either going to enjoy it and accept it, or it's going to be built over your dead body. You make the choice. Okay. He looked at me, you know.
Yeah.
He looked at me in amazement because what I was barely 18, 19 years old at the time. And here was this big respected man telling him that I'm going to build a basketball court there, whether you like it or not. And if you stand in my way, we'll build it over you. Okay. and so listen, I don't want any fight with religion or anything like that. But we should start renaming our schools after our own national heroes, right? I saw an article recently that my own high school, which I love my high school, should be named after Brother George or famed principal. I'm 1,000 million, a trillion% for it, name it after him. He, more than anybody else, he personified what that school was all about. I don't even care right now if you rename St. Patrick's RC as the Carl John Academy, because he made a contribution.
Yes, he did. I mean, he one school. He be the principal of different schools, right?
Anglican school, we had so many great principals there, Mr. Gordon, Miss Cannon. I mean, just legendary people from St. Patrick's. Hudson could give the history of Hermitage, the Vivegs, and other people who were early principals. Chantamel School, Mr. Lionel Ward, Samaritan, Mr. O.A.T. Rayburn, or Mr. Coddington John. Waltham Junior Secondary School, its first principal, somebody I disagree with on everything in life. But I would not have a problem naming the school after Mr. Williams, who was the first principal there.
Right.
So and then tell the history of these people. Tell the history of these people.
I think
because some of them came from very, 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 very humble beginnings, right? Their parents were poor. They lived in houses that didn't have any floors. They had to go to the pit latrine. Sometimes they had one meal a day, but they grew up with their parents and grandparents investing in them. They invested their time and energy into educating themselves and were instrumental in educating my and many generations that came after. So I recognize them, and I don't have to agree with you to accept that you made a contribution to the development of your country.
Right. I agree. I mean, a lot of times we tend to try not to offend the powers that be of from before, right? We
Yeah.
still want to be body shoulder with them. They don't care about us, but we want to be body.
Miss OAT Rayburn was a legendary principal in Samaritan. Legendary. People used to send their children from as far as River Sally. Now think about that. Think about that. As far as River Sally, Rose Hill, Montfendu, all these areas, people sent their children from those areas to come to Samaritan School because of Mr. Rayburn.
Yeah, because people believe in the system. They believe in that.
Exactly.
So
exactly. So I recognize these people tremendously.
I think that's
Change the name of our schools, rename our government buildings. Why don't we have a bill, modern? I mean, we have something named after Mary Shaw. How about Galloway? How about Butler? How about DeVere Pete, even though if I don't agree with him? They're just lots of people. Why isn't the Happy Hill Secondary School named after Madam Jean Augustine, right? It was named Bernadette Bailey. They moved it. I would not have a problem had it been named
change it.
Jean Augustine Academy. So these are the things that I want to see in government. And those things, while they may seem insignificant, they have long-lasting implication for the cultural and historical understanding of our people, our nation, and our growth. And we have to do them.
I believe that. I think we have to come to, I think the Caribbean and a whole has to come to the realization that we have to recognize our heroes for who they are,
Let's start by getting the queen off our money. Get the queen and king off our money. We have distinguished
something.
economists, William Demas, Alistair McIntyre, Eric Williams, who else comes to what was his name? He was once CARICOM Secretary General. Joseph, another brilliant economist.
Owen Otter, all these guys in them,
Owen Otter. There's just a number of people. Louis out of St. Lucia. Why we don't have our money? And you could even go further, right? You could allow the respective nations, certainly within the OECS, to put their money, to put their own national heroes on the money that regularly circulates in that country. So, You're
muted there, but okay.
I'm muted?
I think I lost you there.
No, what I was saying is that you're not hearing me?
Uh-oh. Are you there? Yeah.
I'm here, I'm not muted.
I hear you now. Okay.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we could even go further to put our own national heroes on our money.
Yes. I think we need to do that. I think we need to stop playing that victim. We're going to be prosecuted for it. We're going to be ostracized for it, kind of thing. And I think our parties in this present dispensation are more Afrocentric in their thinking than the past leaders, who was most of them who came out of the colonial era, still saw Massa as that powerful and mighty person.
Well, I mean, in the case of our money is pegged, the Eastern Caribbean currency is pegged to the US dollar, so it has no real relation to the British pound. All right. So that's what I'm saying. I saw somebody put a silly argument last time, said if we change the Queen picture, the value would drop. I don't know where they got this idea from, because
they don't understand how money works.
Yeah, the EC dollar is pegged to the US dollar, so that has no who you put on your money. No. I
mean, look at Canada, for example. Canada have changed, put different people on the dollar. They have usually black numbers on the dollar. So I don't see a reason why we can in the Caribbean. If it means, I mean, Tom is not one of my favorite person, Eugenia Charles, but there was stalwart in the Caribbean as well. So you could still put a picture on the dollar. What I mean?
Listen, there are people I disagree with vehemently, but
Yeah.
They made their contribution. So Eugenia Charles would be one of them. Tom Adams would be another one. You know, that these are people that.
It's funny how revolutions like we will recognize those people today. Their contribution.
Yeah, you know, but they played a role, so they deserve the.
It's like sports, right? When your team is up against another team, okay, who the captain of that team is, right? And
That is true. That is, you know, but we have things to do, and I hope that the new emerging leadership in the Caribbean is not going to see these things as being trivial, but that they are integral to our development, you know, and to resist as much as, and even some of our institutions should be named after regional people and people are, why shouldn't we have a high school in Grenada named after Malcolm X?
Exactly.
Or somebody else, you know, or Martin Luther King or Stokely Carmichael or any one of these guys, you know.
I think
Power.
I think one of the things that we need to come to terms with is the level of ignorance of our people, and how we could actually let them be more educated on those things like that. Because sometimes, you know,
I don't know. You know, a couple of months ago, I said, when somebody asked on the program what my hope would be for the new government, and in particular the Prime Minister. And obviously, I'm a project guy. I like projects. I like to see things being built and so forth. I'm an infrastructure guy. But I suggested that I think one of the critical things that the Prime Minister needs to be doing going forward is having these conversations with us as citizens about the future of our country, and more importantly, about the need for us to unite, and to make it clear that my political opponent is not my enemy.
Yeah, I think there's something that is happening greater. I think with the modern NDC, I think I heard your friend Shanti, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, said, and I heard even Andy said it, election is over. Let us build Grenada together. We don't need to have these and politics. Election then come, there will time for that again. But often put away the partisan thing. But I think there's a certain element of people within the NDC, and there's a certain, and on a higher level of the opposition in Grenada, people beginning with the opposition leader, is still fostering this kind of a partisan politics still in Grenada. Most recently, I heard him ranting about the monies that was sent to the South, and it's an old thing. He's still bringing that up again. All little trivial things that really make no sense to get up.
Right now he's majoring in minor, because he's always been a petty person. So now you add being gruntled, being shamed, having taken a political beating that probably no other prime minister who had served that long in office took, because I don't think I think we have to look at it in the context. To come from 15-0 to 9 in one full swoop is a major political accomplishment, right? So that really hit him where it hurts. And I think he had intended this period
very much
to be a period of retribution. Okay? And he missed out on that. And he can't get over that. So he's going to continue to be disruptive and make absolutely no doubt in my mind that his continued presence on the national political stage is a hindrance to Grenada's development. It is a hindrance to the, in other words, he, by his very nature, and by continuing to hold on to the leadership of his party, he has put the NNP on life support. And the quicker he gets, because you need two strong political parties debating the ideas, not sniping against each other with what he is doing. He has had no agenda. He has been bankrupt on ideas for decades now. So his only thing has been victimization and the marginalization of people who do not support him with his cabal. So now that he does not control the levels of state power, he's miserable, because outside of that, his existence, his very existence has become irrelevant. So don't expect any statesman-like behavior from him. He's going to continue to be small. He's going to continue to be petty. He's going to continue to be vindictive where he can. He's going to be malicious. Just name it. And this is going to be his legacy. So I'm not worried about that. The NNP is going to have to figure out who runs and manages their party moving forward.
Here's studio right across from, adjacent to Waller's Kitchen. You can get your oh, there, what is gone right there. Sit here. All right. So folks, we are at Waller's Kitchen, and again 477 Oakwood Avenue. Please come on down and be part of the movement. Come and get your all done today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Come today. All right. And Grandy's here. Peter did. Everybody's here. So, all right, let me find me some. Yeah. The value customers appreciation day. Yeah. Welcome to the backyard first, and we do a big screen. I have a big screen to do the movie either inside here or outside. So right, Ola? We have to do the big screen. That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's what you're back?
Yes.
Yeah, we had like a drop there for a moment. The internet is unstable, so that's what happened here. Like I was saying, where my thought went to. We was talking about the let's see if I get in my recovery here now. And see that I think I see what went wrong in the but I sometimes I touch the wrong button sometimes, And, yeah, it's true. I touch the wrong button sometimes, and there's no I disconnect something by pressing the wrong button, and I lose my my marbles here, so to speak. But I'm a sort of a kind of guy that always follow trends, But I think greater we need to bring back our people and focus in on greater economic development. more than anything else. And the Prime Minister and the team that he has around him have to spend a lot of time focusing on our development as an economic power in the Caribbean. I think Grenada has the personnel, we have the manpower. I think we have to collectively put all this together and make it work for us. You gotta make it work. You can't just assume that it'll work by itself, you know?
Yeah.
It could work, and we have to get it working. Yeah, that's how it's gonna be happening. We can, sometimes there, but I think with us in the Caribbean, I think what happened with Grenada in particular, Toro has correctly said that Grenada has, the junior revolution, the 4.5 years, has set a template for development in Grenada, but not much people already use it. And I think now it's time to pull out the drawing book again and go back to the template and apply that. Which
there are many lessons that we can learn from that era.
Yeah.
And there were other programs that other governments would have done at different periods of time that can be dusted off the shelf and be reevaluated, upgraded, and see how we can make it work for our people, and especially so for our young people.
Yes, yes. I think the truth is that we cannot just say we can't do it anymore. And I think that the days for saying that we cannot has gone. I think now is the time more than ever that we as a people must get more involved in the development of Grenada, and from every community, right? It's a community development thing that we Grenadians should be involved in the process of developing Grenada, and from a community base first, and they spread like yeast, just spread up and then to Grenada. But we must have economic base in the community to support the community. Which one of the things I pride myself on, even in Canada here, I try not to shop way outside of my parameters of my community. You know, I try to tell my people, shop within your community. You could develop the economics of the community by shopping within your community. Because sometimes we try to shop so far out of, and we say, this guy over there, he cheap. This one, but you're not bringing business to him. So his price is always high. There's no reason for him to drop his prices. You know what I mean? Really. And I think business have to start marketing themselves better.
So I think, well, if you take blacks in America and they spend, and the money they spend, if they were a country, they will be the 16th largest economy in the world.
Right.
Just blacks in America. And if you add the Canadian with that, I think the number goes up to number 9.
Right.
Okay. So we have real power.
Well,
we have real power.
Well, are we using the power? Eh? And that's the thing.
It's how we use it.
How we use the power. You know?
So like I saw a post on Facebook recently where this guy was showing a concrete finisher who makes a good living. You know, this is a guy making more than $100,000 a year with the skill level that he had. But he's probably putting in 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day to do that, working 6 days a week.
Hold on a second.
And it's getting some feedback.
It's right. Yeah, that was a piece from the intro from the Caribbean Tales. Yeah, go ahead. You're saying so. No, I forget what I have to. Yeah.
Well, listen, we have a lot of challenges, but I don't think they are unsurmountable.
Mm.
I think that collectively, working together, we can solve them, or we can
Mm.
certainly put a dent in them. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the Prime Minister speaking out a little bit more forcefully on us uniting as a people, coming together. That 24/7, every 365 days of the year, political grandstanding and campaigning does nothing for us as a people.
Yes, yes.
It is the Americanization of our political culture,
Mm.
and it is not good for us.
Right.
When you're looking
Mm.
at the significant, I remember when I first immigrated to the United States, being a political junkie, I immediately gravitated. I mean, I've always been a news guy, and I wanted to learn much, because you can't live in a country if you don't understand the politics of it. So I wanted to learn. I mean, I had an awareness of American political life already, but now I wanted to learn it at a granular level. And I started, listening to speeches by senators and the big powers of the day. And when you listen to the people now in office, I wonder sometimes when you go and look at their biography and you see that they went to this university or that university, you wonder. I mean, take for example the governor of Florida. This guy is a Yale-educated, Harvard-trained lawyer. Okay, and when you listen to him, I don't know why the universities have not called and say, listen, we made a mistake, give us our thing back, Okay.
I think blacks are an ass with them, right? They wouldn't have Scottish come back and John knew, Mary knew, everybody know, but nobody is really doing anything.
Yes.
So where are the real scholars? Where are the real people who learn and who become that academians kind of thing? How come we can have them employing their skills and services? I think most of what I see happening there, but is the lack of practicality in the system by
Absolutely.
those who have papers behind them, titles behind them, but not effectively employing themselves to really, really transform the communities in our country in a big way.
Yeah.
And sometimes they feel they have to be in politics to make that contribution. I don't have to be in politics to make that contribution.
That's true. That's true.
You could make that contribution without being in politics.
Yeah.
So that is the kind of thing I think that needs to be taught, to be told to when they comes back, let them know, look, you don't have to be a politician to contribute. You could be an ordinary citizen making a positive contribution. There's a man in Surtees, I can't remember his name right now. He lived in England for many years. When he came back and he saw the deplorable state of the road in Surtees, I think it's some Mali or somewhere is going on there. Back road going to join into Chantimel, somewhere in the back over there. Mali Road go down. He employed a few people to help build a new road. And
I know you're talking about Mr. Cannon.
Mr. Cannon, his own monies. He wanted to run for politics one time. I realized when this guy
He tried to revive the Dairy Party.
Yeah, but they're all about money for themselves. They're all about themselves. They don't want to make the contribution. So he said, you know what? I'm going to go on my own and do my thing and do it in not other parties, other private things. Because when you go in government, you think you'll get help from government to do things, and all these people are just sitting back wanting to make money for themselves. So that's the problem we have. That the people feel that they have to go into politics and that's easy money. I don't work hard again. I spend all my years in university and doing the thing. I need to make the money that way. I think that's the sad part of it. Our people have to go beyond politics and start diving into communities and building communities with the skills and talent that they have out here in Zimbabwe. I personally believe that when I go back to Grenada, in my view, to leave, I would be able to educate and teach the proper kitchen construction. And we see the skill. I tell you something, I came to Canada fully skilled. I didn't come part-time skilled, fully skilled. And I've developed a lot. I've gained a lot of experiences in the work I've done. And I just said earlier on, when you graduate from university, it's not the degree that you get, the people you get, is just your application thereafter that makes all the difference.
The application, right? Absolutely.
How do you become functional in a society that depends on you, not on your degree, but on your skills and your talent to really employ that to make a difference in the community. There are a lot of people who have not been to school, university here, but they are making significant contributions, and they work in the industry. They apply themselves to the skill trade. And I think a lot of people are just theoretical, not practical, and they're not able to function in a practical role. Can't do why everybody want to be in an office behind a desk instead of being on the ground, really doing what needs to be done. I think that's one of the downfall of our people, not trying to employ the skills when they come back to Canada. And so put the skills to work, employ themselves, create an environment, create jobs, create industries where young people get to work and train them, and thereby branch up and doing bigger things for themselves. Yeah. Well, the time is now 1:54 in the PM. And guys, you listen to Caribbean Connection on GEMFM Radio. We are at Ola's Kitchen for today. She's busy catering for a lot of different things happening today in the city of Toronto. One of which is the Jane Augustine birthday bash happening this afternoon down at the Harbourfront, 203 Harbourfront. Yes. So again, GEMFM will be down there this afternoon, and follow us on YouTube, GEMFM Studio, on John Kelly's, Sheriff Kelly's on YouTube. Since we have a Facebook connection problem here, so we do the YouTube stuff, so follow us on YouTube, right? Down at the Harbourfront today, this evening. So again, it has been a plum pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege having you on my side this morning again. And
anytime, brother, anytime.
Looking forward to next week, Saturday morning.
Yes.
Things to do and talk about. And I hope we get back on the night show after this summer is finished, because we're on the road. Family time plus GEMFM time. Like tonight, we're going downtown to carry this thing live. Hopefully I will come back with you to come back and join me and talk about what's happening. Because there'll be a lot of things happening. The talkbacks from the presentation tonight. So that we'll be looking forward to on GEMFM. So folks, again, the link will be back tonight at the Caribbean Tale Film Festival. Jane Augustine birthday is today, and they'll be celebrating that downtown. So we're looking forward to having you folks come on down and be part of that. All right. What is happening in Oakwood? There's a film festival type going on at Oakwood too as well. All again is preparing meals for that too. Plus, we have the oil run coming up from the back kitchen and back of the kitchen there too. So again, a lot of stuff happening in Oakwood today. I know there's a time when people say nothing good come from Oakwood, but you have GEMFM and Oakwood, you have Ola Kitchen and Oakwood. Well, I'm bridging the gap between Oakwood and Vaughan Road. That community, that Oakwood community in Vaughan and Oakwood. So we have a lot of good things happening around here. So come on to Vaughan Oakwood. There's no violence again in this area. The area is really clean and nice now. There's a lot of good things happening there. The bad apples have been driven out, So there's a new community of people in the area. So it's nice to be here in Toronto at Ola's Kitchen every Saturday morning from 10 until 9 o'clock. Come on, oil to get it all on them to finish. I tell you some chicken, on 2 pot, 3 pot is still finishing. So please come early and get your oil on. I call and let them put away your oil on for you, so you don't have to say, well, I come late and I get the oil on. Call. Or we have current dumpling today too. All right. So come on down to Ola's Kitchen, 477 Oakwood Avenue. Ola, what's your phone number again? Yeah, Ola's phone number so people can call in Ola's Kitchen. Oh, I have the phone number here. Let me pull it up. And so folks will come on down and get to Ola's Kitchen. All right. All right,
comrade. All right, so we'll be in touch.
All right. So one love, my brother. God bless you.
Right,
have a one.
cool.
Okay. All right. Ola's Kitchen, guys, post 647-437-9776. That's the number to call. Ola's Kitchen, And it's at 477 Oakwood Avenue. Come on down and be part of this. All right, here. The sheriff is here. We're here until 4 o'clock. It's your time to get ready to get out downtown. To cover another event. So that is it. Yes. Let me find some music and then tell you.